Welcome to beautiful Our Lady of Mount Carmel Parish here in Altoona. Always a pleasure to be here along with the pastor, the Very Reverend Frank Scornaienchi, and today a very special guest. Literally, we have the rose between two thorns, Father Frank's sister, Rose Turner, a member of Visitation of the Blessed Virgin Mary Parish in Johnstown. Rose, good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And Father Frank, always good to be with you. So as you know, we're in the midst of our Called by Name Vocations initiative here in our diocese. And as part of that, we've been inviting all of the priests who serve in our diocese to share a little bit about their vocation story, their vocation journey with the faithful. And I talk a lot to Father Frank, and he's been sharing a lot of his story, and I thought it would be good for you to hear it, and also to hear from his sister, who has lovingly supported him throughout that journey, along with their late parents. So, Father Frank,
thank you,
the
Tony.
floor is yours. Tell us about, you were an early vocation. You knew at a young age. Tell us your story.
I did. The last 3 years of grade school, I was at St. Anthony's in Johnstown.
Yes.
They finished building the school, and we were the first graduating class from St. Anthony's.
Nice.
But I spent a lot of time with the Franciscan Friars, Immaculate Conception Province, because they've served there since 1909.
Yeah.
And I was working in the office. I helped with the collection. I used to do the cemetery books, things like that. So I was back and forth there a lot of times. And I got to know them very well and saw their ministry and loved what they do. I said, I think this may be what I'd like to do.
Wow.
Then when I went to high school, I went to Bishop McCourt, and I discovered something. I discovered girls. And told my mom and dad, and my mom was furious. And he said, you can't do that. And my dad would say, let them alone. Let them alone.
Yeah.
So I went through high school, still thinking I would be going to become a priest, become a friar priest with the priests I knew so well. Actually helped decorate the church a lot for the holidays. Also their festival. I actually co-chaired their festival, their parish festival, when I was a junior in high school. That's where I got my degree in festival,
Yes.
of which we have right here at Mount Carmel.
Yes, Our Lady of Mount Carmel has one of the best festivals around. And so you got an early education in Johnstown.
Early education, yes. Then I went off to Washington, D.C., and was at our House of Studies there. Went through, actually, my very first public school was when I entered the Friars and went to Montgomery Community College in Tacoma Park for 2 years for associate's degree.
A little culture shock there after all those years of Catholic education.
And so I went through a seminary there. Got a philosophy degree in math. Actually had a year out at St. Cloud, Minnesota to teach math. And back to Washington for theology. But basically, it was through the grade school experience, the high school experience, being with the Friars.
Yeah.
I said, this is what I want to do.
Rose, at that young age, when he revealed his desire to be a priest, what was your reaction? What was the reaction of your parents? I imagine it was welcomed with a lot of support.
It was very welcome because he's 6 years older than I am. So as far as I can remember, that's all he wanted to do. Yeah. As a matter of fact, whenever we were growing up, normal kids would play with building blocks and things like that. No, not him. He actually said his first Mass in my mom's kitchen.
Love it.
And I was his altar server. Even though, girls were not allowed to do that. Well, I was the first altar server.
You were a pioneer, huh?
Exactly. And I could have been maybe 6 years old.
Was she a good altar server?
She did everything just right.
Yeah. But he had the whole Mass written on these cardboard little stands, and he said the whole Mass. And if I remember, it was in Latin.
Wow.
Wasn't it in Latin?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I got to experience that, and he would take bread from my mom's and smash it down, and that was our communion. I can remember when he would give communion, of course, there was no one there but me.
Right.
And he would, if I would start to laugh, he would pass me by to go to the other person who there was no other
Imaginary person.
Exactly. And then he would come back around. So I got, a good experience of how to behave in church. But that's all he ever wanted to do.
And your parents obviously welcomed this.
Oh, very much. Very much.
Because we live in a culture, sadly, it's hard to believe, but some families, when the young son or grandson comes and says, I'm thinking about the priesthood, some parents or grandparents discourage it. So how refreshing to know that you came from a home where he was nurtured and supported so enthusiastically.
Mm-hmm. Well, any party we had, tell them,
Well, yeah. I mean, any party we had, whoever the priests were at St. Anthony's, they were the first ones who were invited. Mm-hmm. My mom and dad had a very open door policy.
Right.
So the priests that served our parish were at our house more often than a lot of the relatives.
Right.
But it was 1969 when the Mets won the series.
Oh, yeah.
I came home from a court, and there he was sitting with my dad in the living room watching the World Series.
But, as I'm listening to you, and I love this story, it's so beautiful, that upbringing, that culture, where the church was really the heart of the family life, the neighborhood, the community, Catholic education, that is where so many vocations were born back in the day. And it's a beautiful thing. I think of a lot of our current priests, and just like you said, they had the interaction with priests and religious in their Catholic schools. The pastor was a frequent dinner guest at the home.
Yeah.
And they grew up around priests, and it was really second nature to them. We don't seem to have that as much today. Do you agree, Father?
Yeah, I do. And when I did the homily 2 different weekends for Called by Name.
Right.
Because I wanted to hit all 4 masses here and tell this almost the same story.
Right.
And I said, you never know if God's calling you.
Right.
Be open to this call.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's so important because, there's different interactions now.
Yeah.
We try to have a parish family here
Right.
so that they get that experience of what a family is like.
Right. And of course, your brother married you. Tell us about that. What was that like?
That was interesting. That was back in 1986.
Yeah.
So he married us, and my husband passed away 6 years ago, and they became the best of friends. So we went to the beach together, and it was always a big family affair. And he married both of my sons.
Right.
So they're married now. He baptized my sons and grandsons. So it's a big family event.
Yeah, and it's really only the 2 of you. You had no other siblings.
Yeah.
So you're really kind of life partners here, journeying through your days together. And of course, you have a funny story about her wedding.
Oh, I do, yeah. The sanctuary at St. Anthony's was not as big as this sanctuary here. So she had a unity candle, it was on the altar, and I was telling them, be careful when you're turning so you don't trip. Well, they were doing the unity candle, and she wanted to turn to go back down off of to where the chairs were. She swung around with her dress and gave me probably a right cross right across the chin. So that's been how she's been with me, keeping me in line.
Kind of symbolic of the brother-sister relationship.
That's it.
That's impossible.
Was he an amazing brother growing up?
He was. He was. But I was always in the shadow.
Really?
For sure. Even following him through Bishop McCourt. Oh, you're Frank's sister. Honestly, it's a big joke because no one really believes that I have a name. It's oh, you're Father Frank's sister. You're Father Frank's sister. Yes.
Wow.
But it's fantastic to be that.
Absolutely. You two just seem like you have a great relationship. I think that's absolutely beautiful.
But,
So, Father,
yes.
called by name, we're really trying to get people to provide us with the names of young men. But even beyond that, you have a great parish here, a lot of young families. You're immersed in their lives. What's your message to young men to really be open to the Lord's call? Because I think there are men who do think about it, but they are caught up, I think, what I always call in the secular ways, where they're told at an early age they should start dating, go to college, get a good job, have a family. And although they think about the priesthood, they really don't see it through. What's your advice for them to really be open to God's call?
Telling your story, being open to God's call is very important in the sense that, someone asked me, would you change anything? I would do the very same thing that I'm doing, because you do have a family, there are kids, and you interact with them all the time, and you can be an influence on them. And the sense is, you got to be kind of happy in what you're doing, and I am. And that's important, and you show that and know that, this may be something you would like to do, because you get to do a lot. And the thing is, you have a family, and that family is your brother priest plus the parish or whatever ministry you're working in. So keep that in mind. It's not a sad life. It's really a happy life.
And that's important, because I do feel that young men, in order to really be open to the priesthood, they need to be around priests who exhibit the joy of the priesthood. And you do. They see someone who loves parish life here, who loves the Franciscan mission, who loves Catholic education. They see your joy just radiating constantly from you. And that's important. That is one of the best vocation tools around. So keep that up, please.
Thank you.
And Rose, what's your advice? As I said, maybe some families, they're a little concerned when the son or grandson comes forward and says he's thinking about the priesthood. What is your advice to them to be supportive and to, at the very least, not discourage a vocation?
Right. Well, all I can remember, too, is our mom would say, it would worry, he's so far away from his family. But he has actually gained, through all of his assignments, he's gained so much more. I can't tell you how many more mothers he has, because all of the parishes that he's served have welcomed him. So he actually has a family more than what we are.
Right.
So I wouldn't discourage anything. I mean, it's very uplifting to see how the parishes treat him, and we know that he's being taken care of. So
I can assure you he is. I interact with parishioners here from time to time, and they adore him. They just value him, and they're grateful to him for many things. He's the spiritual father here, and that's a beautiful thing to witness.
And we're happy to share him.
We're glad you did share him. So we salute your parents, who were wonderful parents to both of you. They gave you such wonderful gifts, so we remember them fondly today. And Rose, what a pleasure meeting you, and thanks for all you do. I understand you're very active at Visitation Parish, so
very
keep up that
active.
great work.
It's a smaller parish than this, but it's very vibrant.
Great.
And Father John does a wonderful job, and I'm happy to be there.
Good. Well, keep up the good work. And Father Frank, of course, continue all the great work that you do here and really throughout our diocese and in your Franciscan community. In addition to all his responsibilities here, Father Frank is the Minister Provincial of the Immaculate Conception Province of the Third Order Regular Franciscans. So you have a full plate.
Yes, thank you.
So keep it up and stay healthy and well, and we wish you both many blessings this Advent season.
Thank you, Tony.